Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. I apologize for this being way late, but I've been under the weather all week. I had to have emergency surgery on my hand. No, it's not wrapped the way it's supposed to be. So while this is late, it's towards the end of the week. You can always learn from reflection. So drop this down here. It's freedomthroughastrology.com. My name is Donald Patak. I'm the astrologer. There's my contact information. Standard YouTube copyright? No. My content may not be used to train AI. Keys to the reading. Number one, I read using constellation-based astrology, sometimes called true sidereal astrology. It's astrology by the visible sky. Tropical astrology fixed the signs to seasons back in around 200 AD. Unfortunately for them, or fortunately for us, the constellations and the planets just keep moving. In true sky astrology, not only do the planets move, but the constellations move, albeit very slowly. It's how we arrive at our astrological ages. So I'm telling you, we're in the age of Pisces, and I'm interpreting these charts as if we're in the age of Pisces. And using the visible sky, there are 13 signs. 13th sign, the missing sign in true sky astrology is called a fucus. It's the symbol of the wounded healer, of a man holding a snake by the head and the tail. The snake in ancient times symbolized knowledge. So, holding the snake by the head and the tail, you're controlling or using knowledge, ideally to heal yourself and then others with similar wounds. Please don't step on my computer, Kit. Calm down. And there's our cat commercial. That was Kit. In using the visible sky, I'm also using the natural size of the constellations. There are people who try to make the constellations all the same size. They vary in their size. Virgo is huge at just under 40, under 50 degrees. I think she's like 49 or 48 point something degrees. Aries, Cancer, excuse me, Libra, Scorpio, Fucus, individually are less than 25 degrees. So the constellations all vary in size, and I respect that. And I use astrological midpoints. Um, the IAU boundaries are arbitrarily drawn, and Athens Menti noted that if you zoom in, you find that there are stars, for example, from Scorpio over the boundary and in a fucus, where they should really be in Scorpio. So he sat down and he devised the midpoint system where he looked at the zodiac belt, last bright star constellation A, first bright star constellation B, what's the halfway point, and it works fairly good. Sorry if I'm not highly energetic. I had 4 shots of espresso and I still fall asleep this afternoon. Keys reading part 2. I interpret using evolutionary astrology, which says you are fated to face these transits. However, these are lessons to learn, and you have freedom of choice in how you're going to work with them. Amen. So I will always give you an ideal and then a shadow reading. This is the weekly edition, so these are the universal lessons for everyone. So do have some compassion on your fellow Earth travelers. Time and date is based on the Eastern U.S. time zone. We're operating within 1 degree of exact. And the software I'm using is Capricorn by Prometheus, which is going to be re-released through the ISAA soon. These are the weekly transits for the week of May 11th through 17th, 2026. The sun begins the week in Aries and will end in Taurus. So we are entering Taurus season. The moon begins in Aquarius and ends in Taurus, leading us to our new moon in Taurus on May 16th, just after 5 p.m., well, 5:19 p.m. Eastern time. The active planets this week: Mercury, learning; Venus, relationships, creativity; and the sun, your core identity. And we do have 2 sign changes. Both the sun and Mercury will enter Taurus. We don't have any long transits. Long transits for me are the outer planets, Jupiter through Pluto, including Chiron. I can also include the nodes of the moon with that. And they're at transits to each other. Don't have anything going on right now. And we do have Pluto in retrograde. So as you looking at our week, let me get my doodle tool. We'll start with the moon right here, began in Aquarius, moved into Pisces on Tuesday morning. Friday, it was in Aries, Saturday morning. Saturday, we went into Taurus, and that's where it finishes out the week. I'm going to do this just a little bit different. Okay, here we go. So Monday, we have the moon in Aquarius. Ideally, what you're looking for is emotional independence and emotional freedom, the ability to feel free and to feel what you're actually feeling and not having people tell you that that's wrong. What did you do to your tail? Did you break your tail? Sorry. So ideally, that's what you're experiencing on Monday. We also have the sun sextiling Jupiter. So that's the sun in Aries sextiling Jupiter in Gemini. So with the sun in Aries, you're learning to have courage about being who you are. And a sextile is an interest or excitement. And as you're doing that, you're learning. This is creating the opportunity for you to learn and communicate. So maybe learning more about who you are or being able to communicate who you are. The shadow, the sun can burn too bright, be that egotistical solid person who wants the whole world to see them, or it can be the dark star that tries to hide away. And in Aries, it's living in fear. So that can come across as anger and being temperamental, or cowardice and trying to hide away. So that fearful version of yourself slips into nervousness, and that creates a crisis in confidence in your ability to learn and communicate. So that's where we are on Monday, emotional freedom, and there's that. On Tuesday, we have the moon in Pisces, the moon will enter Pisces. So you're seeking inspiration here. Ideally, that's what you're finding is inspiration. And I just had another cat jump on me. So we're looking for inspiration, something that motivates you beyond just the physical world. The shadow here is with Pisces is falling into fantasy and slipping into fantasy, slipping into idleness, daydreaming, and wasting time away. We also have on Tuesday Mercury in Aries sextiling Jupiter in Gemini. So Mercury in Aries, having the courage to learn, having the courage to communicate. And ideally, it's what you know in your own truth. How is that creating an interest in your opportunities to learn and communicate? Jupiter is always about opportunity, and in seeking and in grabbing that higher potential for who you are. And in Gemini, learning to communicate, learning and communication essential there. The shadow here is Mercury can get distracted and lost in its own thoughts or lost trapped in its own mind. In Aries, and it's trapped in fear. And like I said, that can come across as anger. It can also come out as cowardice. And that creates nervousness, which results in a crisis of confidence in your ability to learn. So this learning fear learning fear triggers a crisis in confidence and sabotages effectively your ability to learn and communicate. So Wednesday, we still have that Piscean moon. I feel like I'm missing something from Pisces. My notebook's a mess because of the cats. Just want to check something really quick. There we go. It's time for fresh vision and it's opportunities for spiritual growth. There we go. Missed the opportunities for spiritual growth. So that was Tuesday. So Wednesday, we're still dealing with moon in Pisces, looking for that inspiration, opportunities for spiritual growth. And we're going to add to that this right here. Sun and Mercury both entering Taurus. So, and the sun in Taurus, Taurus is about finding peace, stability, and strength. So the sun in Taurus is finding out about uh, is about finding the peace and being who you are at heart, and with that inner strength that comes from being that way. Uh, do look for opportunities just to calm down and chill out. Taurus can be a workhorse, to be sure. I mean, if you put a yoke on a bull, you can use it to get a lot of work done. So it can be a workhorse, but it's also about finding that peace, finding naturalness, finding simplicity. So ideally with the sun in Taurus, you're learning the strength that comes from just simply being yourself. The shadow here is um, being caught up in, it can be laziness. Sun can be, the ego can become very lazy and withdrawn and just not wanting to do anything. Or it can be that proverbial bull in a china shop. So it can be very destructive. So the sun, your core identity, and the shadow is the out of control ego. Either which way, it's out of control. It's either burning too bright or not wanting to shine at all. And in Taurus, it can be that lazy bum, that angry lazy bum. I'm not going to do anything because I don't have to. Or it can be, I just want to hide away and be left alone. Don't bother. Mercury in Taurus is about Taurus is very practical, honestly. So it's learning simplicity and practicality. Um, and focusing and learning to calm the mind and go and like I said, learning simplicity, learning to calm the mind, learning to slow down, learning to find what brings you peace. Um, the shadow here, the shadow of Mercury, we know it can be distracted and get lost in its own thoughts. And in Taurus, it can get lazy. So you can just be idly sitting by, instead of doing the work you need to do, just idly sitting there being lazy, not learning anything, not doing anything. Or it can also be just running rampant. And we will have on Wednesday the sun and Mercury conjunct each other. And Mercury will bypass the sun. So if you're into astronomy, if you have a clear night, which we don't have because of the thunderstorms we had today, um, you will be able to see Mercury in the night sky after sunset for a brief moment. So, what is Mercury conjunct the sun? Mercury conjunct the sun is about learning who you are and communicating who you are. Sorry, my sinuses are a little plugged. So it's about learning who you are, communicating who you are, and finding what brings you peace and what helps you to calm your identity and find the strength that's in your identity, but also finding out what helps you to focus. The shadow, Mercury can get distracted running its mind can be running the mind can be running 90 miles an hour. It can be talking before you think. And it in Taurus, it can be lazy. It can be that bull in a china shop. So this can be very damaging words. It can be, I don't care, don't bother me. I want to be left alone. So there we go there. I'm just going to clear these drawings out. Friday, we do have the moon entering Aries. So essential here is learning to have courage. Ideally, what you're learning is how to stand up for yourself, uh, learning to take action as well, learning to be bold. And the shadow here is falling into fear, and that fear can be anger and it can be cowardice. So this could be anger and taking your anger and frustrations out on the world, or it can be cowardice and trying to hide away. We also have on Friday Mars conjunct Chiron. Mars conjunct Chiron, and this is going to go all the way through till the 18th, which is going to be Monday. Mars is courage, Chiron to heal, and Pisces spiritual. So it's having the courage to heal spiritually and release spiritual wounds. The shadow here is falling into fear and wounding yourself more deeply spiritually, or it can be wounding others spiritually. With Chiron, the ideal of Chiron is that Chiron's the ruler of the Fucus. You are gaining knowledge and learning to use it to heal, first yourself, then others. So in the ideal, you're having the courage to heal yourself and then heal others with similar wounds. The shadow is you're using that knowledge to stay wounded, you're refusing to heal, or you're using the knowledge to wound others. And Saturday is our busy day of the week. We also have Venus sextiling. Sorry, I'm going to delete that. We also have Venus sextiling Chiron. Venus in Taurus. Venus, relationships, creativity, and Taurus, naturalness. Learning to be natural in your relationships, finding your natural sense of creativity, and how does that create an interest in healing, especially healing on that spiritual level. The shadow is being slick, manipulative, lazy. And how does that lead to nervousness and wounding of yourself and wounding of others? And that will, again, also end on the 18th. That would be Monday. And finally, we have Venus sextiling Mars in Pisces. So again, Venus is relationships, creativities, and Mars finding naturalness, that sense of ease, that sense of simplicity, learning to be yourself. How is that giving you the courage to heal and heal on a deep level? How is that helping you to heal others as well? Could you use revealing who you are at heart, help others to heal and say, hey, if they can do it, I can do it too. And this is going to go, actually begins on Saturday. It's going to exact on May 19th and it will end on May 21st. So this is going to be a fairly long transit. It's going to carry into next week. The shadow here being slick and manipulative and lazy, focused on earthly wealth and earthly treasures. How does that trigger fear? And how does that triggering fear, whether it's anger or cowardice? Everybody else is getting theirs. I want mine. This is an idle fantasy that everybody gets what they want. So it's either anger or it's cowardice and hiding away. And instead of reaching out in your relationships, you're hiding away in your relationships. And what is this kitten trying to do? Let's pick her up. Hiding away in your relationships, hurting yourself, potentially hurting others. Okay. All right, just to show you the little kitten that's getting in the way. This is Snowflake. The only reason I can tell Snowflake and Snowball apart is Snowflake right now has gunk around her eyes. Really a nice little kitten. So last but not least, 10 o'clock at night, we have Mercury conjunct Uranus. And this starts on Saturday and will end on Sunday in Taurus. So Mercury, learning and communication, and conjunct Uranus, learning what to be your authentic self and find the peace and strength that comes from that. The shadow here. Oh, I forgot to talk about the new moon on Saturday. I'll hit that. I'll come back to that. The shadow is, that sense of nervousness, that scattered mind. And Uranus, instead of being your authentic self, you're being someone who you are not. You're either acting out or you're selling out. And this nervous mind is falling into distraction and sharing the wrong person and sharing who you are not with others. On Saturday, I forgot this. Where's my cursor? Right here. We did have the full moon in Taurus on Saturday at 5:19 p.m. And that is the sun conjunct, that is the moon actually conjuncting the sun, because the moon technically is the fast traveler. So that's your emotional self and your soul. And as that is conjuncting the sun, and how is this healing your core identity? And how is it healing it in Taurus with simplicity, with finding peace and finding simplicity? This in the reading that I've been doing on the moon, it appears that the transits of the moon are like a healing journey. So how can this be healing, and how can this be healing deep wounds as well, emotional wounds? The shadow here, the moon can be emotional, and that can trigger the ego, whether it's burning too bright and being the egotistical jerk, or that person who wants to hide away. And in Taurus, it gets lazy, it can be temperamental and explosive temperamental. Come on, Smokey, what do you want, buddy? So there you go. That's kind of the reading for the week. I did not talk about our planetary themes for the week. I do have our planetary themes. First is being Mercury. So a large focus on learning and communication is going to be very important. And as it goes into Taurus, learning simplicity, learning ease, and learning simple strength. Secondly, we do have, I'm going to focus on the new transits, is Venus. And Venus is, of course, relationships and creativity. And how is this helping you to heal and find courage? And last but not least, oh, I forgot to include that with Mercury, because Mercury is really transiting the sun. Last but not least, we do have the sun working with this, and it did put it up first, so what have you, but a focus on the core self and who you are at heart. So, and also because of the sun, with the sun moving into Taurus, so the reading's a little backwards. Sorry, I'm a little out of it and a little tired, but it's life right now. Hopefully, I am going to be seeing a specialist this week about the hand. There's probably going to be some more surgery on it. There is some damage to looks like there's some damage to the tendon, so there's going to be some stitches and stuff more. And OTPT, yay. So we'll close that out. So do follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. You're watching this on YouTube. These three make billions of dollars off your data. Digital Soul Space is, hosted on the Mighty Networks, which allows you to control your data and how it's used, and whether it's connected with you at all. They do focus on privacy. We have 4 great moderators that keep it to be a troll-free zone. I call it the safe spiritual space of the internet. I do astrology on there. There's crystals, tarot, oracle cards, mediumship, angels, you name it, art, you name it, it's on there. And people are more than willing to share what they know. There's a free version and a paid version. The free version gets you limited access. The paid version gets you full access to everything. 100% of the money of what you're paying goes to cover the costs of digital soul space, the cost of the software, the cost of the website, etc. So the moderators and everyone who does all that, they do it for free. This is really as a labor of love. I do readings if you want to see how your chart changes from tropical to true sidereal. Quick six of six key points. If you want to know your birth contract, why am I here? The birth or natal chart in evolutionary astrology is your birth contract. It's who you came here to become. I also, same chart, just a different focal point of the reading. Birth chart starts with the sun. The karmic chart focuses on the nodes of the moon. The karmic chart, it can be a special lesson or a past life that where negative karma was created and you came here to heal it. And I can read that for you. And not only do I tell you what karma is, how it was created, and how it shows up in this lifetime, I also tell you how you can heal it and release it. And then I do horoscopes. 1 year in each. Excuse me, hiccups. Hold on. There we go. Any 12 months in a row, any 3 months in a row, or any 1 month. And 1 month is new moon to new moon. Or it can be the first of the month to the last of the month. So your choice on that. And then I do packages which combine these readings in various ways. So do like, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter. You'll get the pop up. I just need an email, and once a week you get this information before everyone else. Like I said, I do apologize for this being late, but this really took a lot out of me. I was in the hospital all Saturday and Sunday, and it was just not a fun experience. And I did not sleep well all week. Like I said, I took 4 shots. I drank 4 shots of espresso all at once. I still fell asleep today, this afternoon. So thank you very much. I hope you learn a lot from this. This is reflection. This is about reflection right this week. Because of how late this is, but you can still learn a lot from reflection and make changes. So thank you very much. Remember, in the visible sky, your life changes.